History is propaganda, nothing more. History is basically old news, but the news is propaganda. You can see how the genocide in Gaza is either not being reported, or when it is being reported, it is being manipulated to always make the perpetrator a victim. Somehow the Israelis are always defending themselves, even when they bomb another country. Even though they bombed all of their neighbors, they're always somehow defending themselves. And that's the same thing throughout history. This is why the history appears the way it is. But one thing people should know about that is that history is part of indoctrination. And indoctrination is an extremely powerful tool. It is very, very, very difficult to disagree with what you were taught is the basic truth later on in life. You know, even Plato touched on that in his allegory of the cave. If you grow up thinking world is one way, like he said about the people who were chained to those stakes, when you actually tear free and you see the truth, even if you go back to the people who are still chained up, they're not going to believe you. The same truth was addressed in the movie The Matrix, where they said most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. That's talking about indoctrination. Indoctrination plugs you into the matrix, and history being a part of that indoctrination then makes you think that, for example, that Roman Empire was civilized, right? These people who watched human beings get torn apart by wild animal right after their orgies, they were civilized. They were the most barbaric people on the planet, most warlike people on the planet, but what they did is they had power, so they made themselves appear civilized to posterity. And then history sees them as a greatest civilization, right? History will make you think that certain cultures, certain ethnicities, or certain whatever were blameless and they were hunted down and murdered for no reason. And it is very difficult to believe otherwise once you get plugged into that matrix. They will omit major parts of history like they do news today. And even like when it's happening this day, when they omit facts, when they lie by omission or manipulation, it's very difficult to see the truth. Now imagine if you are talking about something that happened, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 500 years ago. Like Malcolm X said, if you are not careful, the media will have you hating the oppressed and loving the oppressor. Well, the same holds for history, and even more so.